Over the past several years, the most common questions from clients as well as fitness professionals has to do with protein. How much do I need? What kind of protein is best for me? Is there a certain amount I should eat before and after workouts? Will eating more protein help me if I'm trying to lose weight? Is eating a lot of protein even safe? Today's lesson will cover all of this and more. But first, even before we cover a few basics, you should all know that over the last few years, protein has been discovered to be a much more important part of our lives than previously thought, which has dramatically altered recommendations under different conditions. In fact, nutrition scientists are now calling sports nutrition, including protein, the new healthy aging. And recommendations apply to everyone that wants to remain active and lean throughout life. Let's find out more. And keep in mind, these are the latest scientific facts. Let's get the basics out of the way first. Protein provides the building blocks, called amino acids, in nearly every cell in the body, not just muscle tissue. You need protein to make everything go, because hormones, enzymes, blood, your immune system, and organs are made up of amino acids. And unlike the other two macronutrients, carbohydrates and fat, other than what we have in our muscles, we certainly don't want to lose any of that, we don't store extra protein that we eat, which means you must consume it regularly. If you don't, your body will simply continue to break down, including muscle tissue. The recommended amount of protein to meet needs of sedentary individuals, according to the U.S. Institute of Medicine, is 0.8 grams per kilogram of body weight a day, or approximately 0.4 grams per pound. However, these recommendations do not take into account things like age, calorie intake, activity level, whether or not you're trying to build muscle or lose weight, pregnancy or lactation and illness, food preferences including fullness or what we call satiety. Regardless of your age or goal, protein can help build and or retain muscle throughout life and therefore contribute to what I like to call a longer play span, which is the ability to continue to do the activities that are important to you. This is distinctly different than one's lifespan, which is simply the amount of time you're alive. And the goal, for certainly most of us, is to remain active and self-sufficient for our entire lives, and protein plays a major role. Because the goal is to keep muscle protein synthesis greater, or at least equal, to muscle protein breakdown for as long as possible throughout life. Let's take a closer look at how this works. In healthy, normal-fed, non-exercising individuals, muscle protein synthesis, or muscle building, is greater than muscle protein breakdown through puberty, which is part of our natural growth. Without protein, this does not happen because muscle protein synthesis can only take place when protein is available. And growth during this period of life takes place when muscle protein synthesis exceeds the natural daily breakdown, as shown in the figure here. Now, regardless of age, this muscle protein synthesis and breakdown is happening in 4-hour intervals every day as muscle cells constantly work to replace themselves throughout your life. Now, after puberty, or in your early 20s, in a non-exerciser, simply through normal daily activity and meeting minimum protein needs, muscle mass can be maintained. But that is only till about 30. Therefore, unless you add resistance training after age 30, muscle protein breakdown is greater than synthesis until the end of days and setting you up for early frailty or inactivity. Let's put a picture to this. From the previous slide, as you see in box A here, muscle protein synthesis is equal to breakdown. Now let's look at B. We add resistance training and normal diet, but we don't include the pre-post exercise protein that we usually add in the so-called metabolic window. But as you'll see, protein synthesis still is in either higher or equal to muscle protein breakdown, but that's only lasts up to a point. Now look at C. We now add the pre-post protein during that metabolic window, which is right before the workout and immediately after, and look at the difference. You have a dramatic increase in synthesis, but also a dramatic decrease in breakdown. And look at the net gain in protein, muscle protein, significant. So you can see how much a difference just that little bit of protein before and after workout in that metabolic window because there's a very exaggerated muscle protein synthesis response when amino acids converge with exercise, and that is called the metabolic window. And it lasts about 90 minutes post-exercise. So we want to make sure that we fill it not only during the workout, but immediately after. And then if you look at box D, that just shows you what happens to muscle protein synthesis during dieting. It becomes less and breakdown becomes more, and it's also part of the normal aging process. But protein can help ameliorate that, and that's really the key to the whole situation, especially when you're aging. Your body becomes resistant to protein, so you need more protein, and you can stave off some of this muscle loss as you age. So let's put all of this muscle protein synthesis and breakdown together in a really cool picture. Okay, because again, our goal is to keep synthesis ahead of breakdown for as long as possible. So let's take a look at what happens as we exercise. As we exercise, you can see what happens to your muscle fiber, the damage there. And we have to do some damage. Otherwise, it won't grow and grow bigger and stronger. That's what our goal is, or at least maintain its normal size. So you can see what happens with exercise. But nothing's going to happen to fix that until amino acids come in, and that comes from your protein. So that begins to repair the damage, and now synthesis begins. And the goal is for it to overcome breakdown and actually put more. So a full repair includes greater amino acids now being deposited into the muscle tissue. So not only are they healthier, but they are stronger. And if the workout's correct, they're also going to be bigger. Because the ultimate goal is to be 100% healed, bigger, stronger, or at a very minimum, slow normal losses from aging or inactivity. And we keep that muscle lasting into adulthood and also all throughout the aging process. Let's talk about protein sources. You might be wondering which sources of protein are best. The good news is there's a wide variety of protein-rich foods, including those from animals: beef, pork, chicken, turkey, eggs, milk, cheese, yogurt, seafood, as well as plants: soy, beans, lentils, nuts, and seeds. Protein quality is typically measured by the amount of amino acids in the food, particularly essential amino acids, since they are the ones responsible for muscle protein synthesis. The more essential amino acids, the higher the protein quality. Animal sources are richer in essential amino acids than plant sources, so it's especially important for a vegan, which means somebody that's eating strictly plant foods, to get a wide variety of protein from plants. So what's the best protein? Well, consuming a wide variety of protein sources, as we discussed, is always best for overall health, albeit the fact that animal proteins, including fish, are gram for gram the highest rate of proteins for humans. However, properly combining vegetable proteins so that the amino acid profile closely matches that of animal-derived protein can deliver comparable results. But the answer to the question, what's the best protein gram for gram? Whey protein. Because whey protein compared to other protein sources, here are the facts. Whey is derived from milk. It is superior in stimulating muscle protein synthesis and weight control outcomes based on its unique functional properties. Per gram of protein compared to all other sources, whey has the highest essential amino acid content. In fact, in a 25-gram serving of protein, half of it is essential amino acids. It has the highest branched chain amino acid content per serving. It is the richest source of leucine, which is the key amino acid that stimulates muscle protein synthesis. In fact, it has 3 grams per 25-gram serving. Whey's rapid digestibility makes it best for contributing to amplified muscle protein synthesis during that anabolic-metabolic window. In other words, it gets to the affected muscles faster as the window closes. Now, here's a little sciencey thing for you. There's a little less splanchnick, or organ extraction, from the amino acids after you digest whey protein. So more amino acids are actually directly available for muscle protein synthesis. Whey concentrate also contains unique bioactive health, immune, and growth globulin factors, which contributes to our immune system and other health properties. And finally, in numerous studies, whey is shown to be superior in all body composition outcomes. It boosts satiety better than casein or soy and other proteins, helps preserve lean body mass, and has a higher thermic effect than either soy, casein, or any of the other proteins. Because of all these unique properties of whey protein, including its abundance of essential amino acids and low calorie profile, it's an ideal protein source for weight-conscious exercisers and athletes to use as pre-post workout supplement or as part of daily meal plan to help meet protein targets. In summary, using a high-quality protein supplement containing all the essential amino acids, which could include a good quality blended plant protein source, as necessary to maximize daily protein health and synthesis, would be an important lifetime strategy by acting as a positive influence on the regulation of muscle mass across a lifespan. Because as we know, the older you get, the more protein you need. And on that note, let's move to recommendations. So how much protein do you and your clients really need? Well, the answer depends on your age, weight, health status, activity level, fitness goal, calorie needs, and more. Hey, but let's make it easy for everyone. Let's start with maximizing protein synthesis. If your goal is to build and preserve muscle tissue, and that's goal 1, you need to consume 1 gram per pound of lean body mass daily and divide that between meals every 3 to 4 hours, including before and after exercise. And if you're really trying to build as much muscle as possible, 1 final dose right before bedtime. Additional protein may be appropriate during prolonged calorie restriction, as required by physique competitors such as bodybuilders, wrestlers, or other athletes who must attain a specific weight loss or body fat level. Another common question: what is the maximum anabolic response or muscle building amount the body can use at one time from a single dose of protein? Well, in science, we call that the muscle full effect. And you've all heard around 25 grams at one sitting. But the answer is, that's a good minimum number, but it's not important in the big picture, because that doesn't take into account protein's role in reducing muscle breakdown. But studies do show approximately 20 to 30 grams per meal is what's generally used for building muscle in an average, non-dieting young adult, but this amount increases with size and age. And again, this is only a muscle protein synthesis measure in a single muscle. So a better way of saying this, if you really need a number, is using a high-quality protein to deliver approximately 0.14 grams per pound of body mass, you should achieve the amino acid muscle full effect. So let's look at an example. For a 200-pounder, that would be about 28 grams of protein before the workout and immediately after workout. And one more time, that doesn't account for protein intake that spares muscle breakdown and what's happening to the entire body. But don't worry, I'll give you the simple answer on protein intake throughout the day for everyone here in the summary after we briefly cover a couple more topics. Okay, let's talk about recommendations during weight loss. During calorie deficits for weight loss, higher protein intakes have been shown to increase satiety, preserve lean body mass, and increase diet-induced thermogenesis, or the calories your body uses to break down and absorb the protein. In fact, this is a big number, the thermic effect of food for protein is almost 15 to 30% of its total calories. For carbohydrates, it's only 5 to 10%. And for fat, it's 0 to 3%. So let's put that into a big picture for you. In studies, consuming a 1,500 calorie diet with 30 to 36% protein resulted in 213 more calories being burnt when compared to a 1,500 calorie diet with only 11 to 15% protein. In other words, your body uses a heck of a lot more calories and energy metabolizing protein, which can contribute to greater weight loss due to higher daily deficits. In another study, consuming twice the RDA for protein during 20 weeks of dieting reduced the loss of lean body mass by up to 300%. The group consuming the RDA for protein lost almost 10 pounds of lean mass, while the group consuming twice as much protein lost only 3 pounds of lean mass. And of course, once again, whey protein tested best in all mechanisms for weight loss, including satiety, muscle protein synthesis, lean body mass preservation, fat oxidation, and body composition. This is likely due to the high essential amino acid content, higher leucine, and the rapid absorption rate of whey protein. On a final note, before we move to our last topics, as professionals, you should steer your customers away from purchasing supplements, including proteins, from the mass market or normal consumer channels. And use only practitioner products, since you're fitness practitioners, which are third-party tested. By doing this, you'll not only protect your good name and brand, but also avoid what has been uncovered in big brand protein products, and that's protein spiking. Protein spiking is when manufacturers add cheaper non-protein ingredients such as single amino acids or nitrogen-containing compounds like creatine to increase the nitrogen content, which then makes it appear as if the product contains more protein than it actually does. Class action suits have been filed against many top brands for this reason. These big brands, some of which you may have purchased, were claiming 25 grams a serving, but were actually closer to 5 grams. And remember, products found in the mass retail, including online, must compete on price, which often compromises quality. So stay professional with practitioner products only. Because also be mindful, the FDA does not require manufacturers to prove the products they make are free of contaminants or are formulated properly, and over half the products on the mass market have been shown to be underformulated, which means they really don't work that well. Be sure to work with reputable companies, which can provide you with research studies to back their formulas, including amounts, along with a third-party test to make sure the ingredients are actually in there in the clinical amounts, like the NSF Certified for Sport program, which tests for purity and label accuracy. But don't stop there. Ask the company that makes the supplement for the research. Now the third-party tests can mean more than just label accuracy. You can also go check the NSF Certified for Sport website to make sure the products are listed. Now let's go to safety. First of all, the amounts recommended throughout this section are safe for all healthy people. In fact, probably healthier long-term than lower amounts. The old school thoughts about high protein intakes, well above the RDA, are all but dead. In fact, no tolerable upper limit, what we call the UL, or the amount of protein that causes health issues has been established. In studies, chronic protein intake, 2 to 4 times the RDA, up to a year and more, appears safe for healthy individuals, including bone, kidney or renal, and any long-term health, as long as protein is not replacing other necessary nutritious foods. All right, here we are. Time for our summary and final recommendations. First, high-quality protein is considered animal sources such as dairy, eggs, beef, fish, or properly blended vegetable proteins like soy or other plant sources that have been fortified with amino acids to closely mimic the amino acid profile of animal sources. Now, other than the exception we discussed regarding prolonged weight or body fat loss, where protein may actually need to be higher than the standard recommendation to protect from the loss of lean body mass and improve appetite during long-term dieting, the simple protein recommendation that covers most all goals and people, young, old, active or not, is the following. See, I told you, I promised I'd make this easy for you. 1 gram per pound of lean body mass, or if they're not overweight, just use their body weight of high-quality protein divided 4 to 5 times a day, which would include on workout days between 20 and 30 grams, 30 to 40 minutes before exercise, and of course the higher number of protein would be for the older or larger people, and repeat that same amount after training. The good news is that on training days, you already have 40 to 60 grams delivered. And most importantly, you've maximized the exercise-induced results by getting what the body was asking for during and immediately after all the activity-driven tissue damage. Or as we like to say, we delivered the building materials, i.e. amino acids, when the body was most turned on to use them, i.e. the metabolic window, to properly recover and improve muscle gains, which once again is inside that short 90-minute window that starts shrinking immediately post-exercise, something whole food can't do. And by the way, you can't go back and make up for that missing window. You simply end up with less recovery and gains before the next workout. Now, simply spread the remaining protein throughout your day into your traditional food meals. And on non-workout days, just spread the total protein evenly in each meal. And you can use the protein supplement as necessary to help meet this recommendation of 1 gram per pound, or lean body mass, total on non-workout days as well. Here's an example. All right, you weigh 170 pounds and you have 15% body fat. So you would consume about 145 grams of protein a day. That's 170 minus your 25 pounds of fat. And that would be, of course, high-quality protein. Or you can just use the 170 number. It won't hurt you. But in this example, we'll stay with the lean body mass recommendation. Therefore, on exercise days, use approximately 25 to 35 grams of protein. The older or larger, the more protein needed, of fast-acting protein about 30 to 40 minutes before exercise, and repeat immediately following. This would be in a fast-acting supplement form. The remaining, let's say 85 grams, so that's 145 grams minus the 60 you just had from the workout, would be split into 3 food meals. On non-workout days, consume 30 grams a meal within 5 meals, which is about 6 ounces per meal of good, high-quality protein. And if necessary, use your protein supplement to help meet this requirement. So there you have it. All you need to know about protein and why it's important to sport and fitness goals, health and longevity. And remember, your next workout is only as good as your recovery from the last. Don't buy from the mass market if you expect results. Keep it professional. Proper daily protein is one giant factor in growing strong, staying strong, so you can play longer.